Marv Albert along with Bill Parcells. Well, Warren Moon has had a very successful 9-year career in the NFL. However, Bill, he's had major problems against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In fact, opening day in Houston, Moon
interceptions. And in talking with Warren Moon, he's concerned about that. He's concerned about the tip balls, but more so the ability of Pittsburgh's defensive line to jump up and bat balls down on the line of scrimmage.
And 35-year-old Bill Cowher took over from Chuck Noll from last season's 7-up and 9-down record, and he has really turned this franchise around. They are now energized and they're upbeat, and they come off that solid victory over Kansas City last week.
And Bill Cowher's put together a perfectly complemented staff. Don Capers on defense, quick, strong defense that gambles and takes chances. Ron Earhart on offense, ball control, power offense, and that's one of the reasons Pittsburgh's in first place.
The Steelers have won the toss, and they will receive. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Oilers coming in at 5 up and 2 down. Rod Woodson is the deep man. And here's Woodson up to the 20. And hit down at the 24-yard line. Eugene Seal in on the stop. A look at that offensive line for Pittsburgh. Justin Strelzik starting for the third straight time. Love, Dawson, Hasselrink, and Ilkin up front. The quarterback is Neil O'Donnell in his third year out of Maryland. That's Barry Foster, who leads the league in rushing. Merrill Hodge at the fullback position. And you see the receivers when they go to what they call the Detroit, the extra tight end, Adrian Cooper comes on. Pittsburgh to the ground on first down with Foster tackled at the 28-yard line. The strong safety, Bubba McDowell, leading the way. And here is that Houston front seven with Fuller, Childress, Lee Williams for the injured Doug Smith. Williams moving inside. Sean Jones at the right defensive end. Lathan, Al Smith, and the rookie Eddie Robinson. A secondary with Dishman, Gray, McDowell, and Marcus Robertson. And when they go to the dime, Darrell Lewis and Steve Jackson come on. Second down play. Foster with a big hole has the first down. He went for 11. Marcus Robertson on the stop.
Barry Foster right now at the top of his game, and you know, he really hadn't gotten a chance to be a first-line player under Chuck Noll, but now with Bill Cowher, everything was started over. He came in, he won the job. He thought he should have had it all along, and here you see him leading the league in rushing.
Last week in Kansas City, 105 yards, 24 carries, despite missing the week of practice with a sore back. As Foster again, Sean Jones making the stop. Houston, incidentally, Bill, is 0-2 in the category of going up against Barry's, trying to stop guys by the name of Barry. They able to 107 yards opening day to Barry Foster. Barry Ward of KC ran for 114, and the Oilers have a Thanksgiving Day date with Detroit's Barry Sanders. It's a 2nd and 7 at the 43. It's the second back coming through. Foster again battling for the first down.
One of the things that Houston was most concerned about, their defensive coordinator, Jim Eddy, in speaking with him yesterday, he feels like early in the game they're going to have to try to overload the Pittsburgh running game, and the way they're going to try to do that is they're going to use an extra linebacker once in a while. Rick Graff in for Eddie Robinson because he's a little stronger against the run and the Pittsburgh tight end offense. And also they'll bring Bubba McDowell up and make 8-man fronts, which is more than Pittsburgh should be able to block with just 7 blockers up there.
They have called for the yardsticks. Well, I called it a first down, and they just did pick it up. So Barry Foster has carried the ball 4 times for 25 yards to get things underway. And Pittsburgh a first down at midfield.
Pittsburgh back in their two tight end offense with Adrian Cooper, and Chris Dishman was especially worried about that two tight end offense. He said it's harder to adjust to the two tight ends that Pittsburgh have than all the speed on the field. He'd rather play against the speed.
Here's Foster. Once again, the host of Oilers to the ball, led by the veteran right corner, Jerry Gray. Pittsburgh has won its last two after dropping two in a row. They opened the season at 3-0 last Sunday night. The 27-3 win over Kansas City in a dominating performance. And Bill Cowher was telling you the other day he actually thought the loss to Green Bay may have been a positive.
Yeah, all the players thought that, Marv, that the 3-0 was the reason they lost to Green Bay. But strangely enough, the 3-0, the three wins, they were behind at the half. The two losses, they were ahead at the half.
It's a second down and 8. And Foster is stopped. Stopped at the line by the left defensive end, William Fuller.
This is the situation that Pittsburgh offensive coordinator Ron Earhart really wanted to avoid. It's the 3rd and 9, 8.5, 9. He would have liked to have all of the third downs down there for Neil O'Donnell in the 3 to 5 area, which they can pick up very easily.
And now, Neil O'Donnell is looking at a 3rd down and 8. The protection would have been dropped. That would have been short of the first down. Leroy Thompson did not have much running room. So the Steelers forced to punt. Thompson covered by the combination of Lathan and Smith. And the punting unit comes on. That's Mark Royals in his 3rd year out of Appalachian State. Last week in Kansas City, averaged 50 yards on 5 punts. Webster Slaughter is back, waiting for the punt, back at his 10, and lets it go. It's a 48-yard punt by Royals. When we come back following this timeout, it will be Houston ball at their 20. It's during the week. That's his offensive lineup. Maggs, Munchak, Matthews, Dawson, and Williams up front. Lorenzo White is the lone running back, and the Fab Four now joined by the newest member, Webster Slaughter, although we will see quite a bit of Leonard Harris, who had been the starter. But Webster Slaughter, the one-time Cleveland Brown, is in the starting lineup for the first time. No score. We're early in the first quarter. Houston from its 20-yard line. Here's White. Lorenzo White to the 24, met by the outside linebacker, Gerald Williams. And here's how Pittsburgh will go up against the run and shoot with Williams, the rookie from Colorado, Joel Steed, along with Evans, Lloyd, and Nickerson. A front 5 complemented by 6 defensive backs.
Well, that's always one of the dilemmas against a run and shoot offense. You know, how many backs, how many linebackers. Pittsburgh's opened with the 6 defensive backs. Houston, conversely, opens with the run against the 6 DB.
It's a second down and 7. And Moon is able to complete for a short pickup with White covered up immediately by Hardy Nickerson. Last Sunday, Houston defeated Cincinnati at the Astrodome by the score of 26-10. The Bengals did hang around a bit. Cincinnati was held to only 10 total yards, no points in the second half. The Oilers with wins over Indianapolis, Kansas City in overtime, San Diego, and Cincinnati twice. The losses to Denver and to Pittsburgh on opening day. It's a 3rd down and 4 from the 26. But he's stopped short of the first down by Ron Woodson.
Well, Ron Woodson's the man that always stays with Ernest Givens, and we may see Givens lining up at a couple of different positions. Usually he's the slot. Woodson, Givens told us, he's been with me every game for the last 5 or 6 games. Wherever I go, he goes. So this week, Houston may play him out of the wide receiver and detach kind of Woodson, try to get Woodson's playmaking ability restricted to the wide part of the field.
And there is Rod Woodson back waiting for this Greg Montgomery punt. Last week, Woodson returned Kansas City's first punt 80 yards for a touchdown. Short punt by Montgomery, scooped up by Woodson. And he is well covered, getting up to the 31-yard line. Mike Dumas was right there. 41-yard punt, only a 3-yard return. There's Jack Pardee, head coach of the Houston Oilers in his third season as the Oiler head coach. He is 0-4, though, as an NFL head coach here in Three Rivers, losing to the Steelers with Chicago, with Washington, and twice with the Oilers. First down from the 32, it's dropped by Foster. Covered by Eddie Robinson, the outside linebacker, rookie from Alabama State.
Well, they're trying to use a little first down ball control passing, but as you saw there on the screen, Foster was looking down the field and not at the ball. He was trying to see where the defender was coming up. Now, Jim Eddy is going to put those 8 guys up front until Pittsburgh proves it can throw the ball against that style of defense. You see 8 guys very, very close to the line of scrimmage right now. They're going to be up there till Pittsburgh proves they can do something about that.
All right, second down and 10, and Foster tries the other side. A first down picked up by Barry Foster.
I'm pretty certain this is an audible on the part of Neil O'Donnell against the Oiler 46-type defense. They pull and they kick out the outside linebacker there, and Foster's up the field for a nice gain. And I happen to know that's the style of audible that Ron Earhart would run, because that's the very thing we used to run at the Giants against that style of defense.
Yeah, this is a perfect team for Ron Earhart with the 2 outstanding tight ends, the good-looking running back, and Barry Foster, right now an efficient quarterback, and Neil O'Donnell. First down at the 48 again. It is Foster. Bubba McDowell among several Houston Oilers able to stack them up.
The thing Ron Earhart wants to do with Neil O'Donnell hasn't developed to the point where Ron wants to put the pressure on him where he feels like he has to win the game. He'd like to get him in a position where he can get the ball to the other good athletes and not create a situation where the onus is on O'Donnell to win the game. Now, on the other side, Warren Moon knows in the run and shoot every week he's got to play well. The pressure is on the quarterback. We discussed that with him yesterday.
All right, Pittsburgh in Houston territory, second down and 3 at the 45. Off the play action, O'Donnell goes in, intended for the tight end. Adrian Cooper covered by Bubba McDowell. For Neil O'Donnell, this is his first full season as a starter. The coaching staff very impressed with the poise that he displayed last year in taking over for Bubby Brister. Now, Neil O'Donnell grew up in Madison, New Jersey, where the Giants used to train at Fairleigh Dickinson University. Told us he remembers dropping by, Bill, to watch your workouts, and I asked what did he recall. He said your screaming at offensive lineman Jumbo Elliott really rings a bell.
He used to come up there and watch all the time.
Third down and 3 from the 45, and O'Donnell. Nice try by Eric Green, who bobbled but could not hang on. He was covered by Lamar Lathan.
One of the problems that Eric Green presents is, Houston doesn't really want to put a defensive back in, because if they do, then Pittsburgh will run the ball. So you see he's covered there by a linebacker, and this is a mismatch from a passing game standpoint that Pittsburgh knows it has. So we'll probably see that as the game goes on.
A punt by Royals, and the fair catch handled by Slaughter. 6:46 remaining, first quarter, no score. Back in Pittsburgh, Houston and Pittsburgh are scoreless with 6-4 remaining in this first quarter. You're looking at Bill Cowher in his first season as head coach. Pittsburgh area native, one-time linebacker with Cleveland and Philadelphia. In fact, this Cowher playing for the Eagles back in 1984, blocking a punt by the Giants' Ali Haji Sheikh. And it wasn't enough to help the Eagles, who lost to your Giants by the score of 28 to 27. That man blocking the punt.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday in the meeting. He remembered doing it, and I remembered him doing it. We had to use our field goal kicker to punt. That was a game where our punter, Dave Jennings, had gotten hurt in the early part of the game, and so we had our field goal kicker punting. And the Eagles recognized it, and that guy, being an alert coach like he is and a special teams guy, he went in and blocked that thing and made it a one-point game out of a 3-touchdown lead.
Bill Cowher spent time with Kansas City as a defensive coordinator. Houston, from its 31-yard line, a personal foul was tagged onto that punt return. Nice moves by Webster Slaughter, picking up the first down. A personal foul was called on Yancey Thigpen for a late hit, giving Houston the ball at the 31. That play goes for 16, and it's a first down at the 47.
You see these two receivers here, they have to work with Warren Moon and read the same thing. One down inside, Slaughter up, hitching up, reading this man right here on the part of Warren Moon. He looks right off. You see the wide receiver coming from the inside, Slaughter hooking up on the outside, reading the deep drop of the corner. Now he gets the ball to Slaughter. He's able to make a big game out of a very short pass.
And back to the live action. Lorenzo White could not hang on, so Moon is now 3 of 4 and is looking at a 2nd and 10 at the 47-yard line. In his last 4 games against Pittsburgh, as you mentioned right at the start, Warren Moon has been intercepted 15 times, and as we were discussing with him yesterday, most of the interceptions have been because of deflections. Doesn't make it any easier for him.
No, you still have to deal with it. You know, if they're deflected, it means they got a lot of guys around the ball, and you know, that can be a problem. And Moon is very concerned about that.
It's a 2nd and 10 at the 47. Penalty flag is down. Moon completing to Haywood Jeffries. Haywood Jeffries last year led the NFL with 100 receptions, leads this season with 50 if that holds up. DJ Johnson made the stop on Jeffries.
Got an offside here on Pittsburgh.
Referee is Ed Hockley, usually a back judge in his first season as an NFL referee.
Offsides on the defense, number 57. The penalty is declined, brings up 3rd down.
Well, that number 57 is Gerald Williams. He's just jumping there, but you know, Carnell Lake, the Steelers' strong safety, said that Gerald Williams is one of the main reasons why Pittsburgh's defense is playing a lot better. He's very athletic, and he can make a big play on any play of the game.
It's a 3rd and 1 at the Pittsburgh 44. White barreling through for the first down. Stopped by Hardy Nickerson. And again, a flag is down. Lorenzo White coming into today 582 yards rushing, 3rd in the NFL behind Pittsburgh's Barry Foster and Emmitt Smith of Dallas. I know, Bill, you feel that as you look at the call again against Pittsburgh, the face mask indicated, you feel that Houston doesn't run enough.
I think Houston could use a little more in their running.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 54. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, they have such a good average on their running game, 2nd in the league. I feel like they could control the game a little more if they would run more than 22 times. If you could get it up to around 30 and reduce that pass ratio down to about 32 a game, then you'd have really an entirely balanced offense, and that's what gives the defenses more trouble.
A personal foul assessed on Hardy Nickerson. Houston first down at the Pittsburgh 26. No score, 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Moon able to swing it out. And Lorenzo White on the reception was stopped by Sammy Walker.
One of the things that the run and shoot has going for us is there's such an emphasis on the wide receivers early in this game now, it's quite obvious that Warren Moon intends to use Lorenzo White as a primary pass receiver. I mean, the first quarter is only a little more than halfway over, and he's already thrown him 3 passes and attempted another one. So Lorenzo White is going to be a big part of the passing game today.
That's an impressive number. Houston in the pass and the run and shoot has had difficulty in the red zone. They have a first down at the 16. It's back to the ground for White. Good second effort. Battling his way to about the 12 where he was stopped by Rod Woodson.
The other thing about the run and shoot offense, you know, there you see the Houston rushing game, 4.9 yards a carry. But another thing about the run and shoot offense is you kind of have to sort through it every week, because Warren Moon said yesterday one of the things that keeps him very alert and on top of his game are all the variables and the contingencies that take place against this offense. So you kind of got to sort through and say, hey, what are they doing against us this week? And once you find it, then you go and attack.
It's the 7th play of the drive, a second down and 6. And Moon's pass incomplete. It was thrown behind Gibbons.
You see the safety man on the blitz. Now, anytime you see this front right here, with Pittsburgh in an odd man rather than an even man front, you can anticipate a blitz. You see the weak safety in, makes Moon throw it quickly, and that's the style of defense that has caused Warren Moon to throw some of those interceptions against the Steelers.
3rd down and 6. Slaughter to the left. In the slot to the left, 81 Gibbons in motion. A shot. It has been called an incomplete pass. Hardy Nickerson all over Warren Moon.
One of the tricky things that Pittsburgh does here is blitz these linebackers and the men off the slots and drop the defensive ends back in coverage. Now that's very difficult for Warren Moon to read. You see those defensive ends dropping back. Donald Evans dropping back in pass defense. You very seldom see that in the NFL.
A 29-yard attempt for Al Del Greco. 10 of 13 for the season. And he's given Houston a 3-0 lead. 3:21 remaining in the first quarter. 5 up and 2 down, and a tie for the lead in the AFC Central. A win today at a record of 6-2 would give the Steelers their best midseason record in a 16-game season since 1983. And beating Houston today could be the most significant regular season victory for the Steelers in Pittsburgh in years. While for Houston, important to come up with the win, because should this come down to tiebreakers later in the season, don't forget that Houston already has been beaten by Pittsburgh. That was opening day at the Astrodome. Here's Dwight Stone on the return, getting across the 20-yard line.
Dwight Stone's probably the most explosive of all the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive skill players, and Bill Cowher wants to make sure that Dwight Stone somehow touches the ball 7 or 8 times, and that's why he's back on kickoff returns as well as playing wide receiver. He's the guy they run on the reverses too.
Pittsburgh from its 22. Houston on a 29-yard field goal by Al Del Greco, leading Pittsburgh by the score, 3-0. Barry Foster has already run for 50 yards on 8 carries. O'Donnell, who was 0 of 4, gets one out to Stone for a first down. It's a 19-yard pass play.
Dwight Stone lined up at the flanker position, coming down in motion, running all the way across the field. Now the split end clears out the Houston defensive corner there and vacates that area, and O'Donnell lays it over the linebackers for a big reception.
The Steelers first down from their 42-yard line. 2.5 remaining in the first quarter. That's the tight end Cooper in motion. It was thrown behind Jeff Graham, and a flag has been tossed.
Incomplete. Flag on the play.
The holding call against the Steelers.
Holding on the offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's the left tackle, Justin Strelzik, called for the hold, number 73.
Justin Strelzik working against Sean Jones, and he just keeps his right arm on his inside hip there. But you get the sense from the Steeler play selection now that they're in a little bit more of an attack mode than they were to start the game. They were trying to establish the run. Now they're trying everything.
It's a 1st and 20 from the 32. O'Donnell facing the rush, able to pop the screen to Foster. 15-yard pass play. Foster run out by the right corner, Jerry Gray.
Well, one of the things you can do on extra long yardage, like 1st and 20, you're expecting a zone defense, so no one is assigned to Foster, and it's a perfect time to run the screen. 1st and long, 2nd and long, most teams will zone you. You get the easy completion, and you get the blockers in front, and now they're back to 2nd and 4, which is a perfect situation for the Steeler offense.
Marv Albert, Bill Parcells from Three Rivers Stadium, overcast day. They expect rain, but later in the day, it's a chilly 44 degrees. Foster with the hold, and a first down. Free safety Marcus Robertson making the stop on Barry Foster.
This is the same play that Foster broke for a big gain earlier in the quarter. You see the right guard, Carlton Hasselrick, pulling out, leading Foster through, and that's a 6-hole play, and I'm pretty sure they call it Flow 36G.
You know, I was going to mention that myself.
Did you know that, Marv?
I get 36 and 35G confused very often. It's a first down at the 43. O'Donnell with the time. Intercepted on a deflection by Al Smith. Oh, Al Smith coughs it up. Pittsburgh has recovered.
Intercepted by Smith.
A wild play.
By Hodge, fumble.
Smith ran for 25 on the return and then gave it right back.
Well, this interception is...
Mistakes to reset here, 1st and 10.
This interception's Neil O'Donnell's fault. It's a little high. Smith follows the tip very well. Intercepts it. Now, you know, these linebackers aren't used to carrying the ball. You see Tom Shilton knocks it loose with his helmet, and it goes right back to Pittsburgh.
And it was Neil O'Donnell who was able to recover. Jarred loose, and O'Donnell covered up. So Pittsburgh now first down, 1st and 10 from their 34.
Well, this thing is starting to get pretty exciting up here. I'm getting excited myself.
Only the 4th interception of the season by O'Donnell. And Leroy Thompson was stopped by Jeff Allen. There's Allen, second-round draft pick 3 years ago out of Notre Dame.
Well, Jim Eddy said that the guy they'd probably missed today was Doug Smith, their big 300-pound defensive tackle, and that Lee Williams was going to have to start, but Jeff Alm was going to have to come in. He felt like they could give him, he could give them a little something against the run that they hadn't been getting exclusively with Williams. So there's a big play for Alm right there and the Houston defense.
And this first quarter is coming to a close. The Steelers now have not allowed a touchdown the last 9 quarters, but they are trailing by the score of 3-0. Well, it's on to the second quarter in Pittsburgh. Bill, these two clubs met in the opening week of the season in Houston, and some chicanery was used. The Oilers jumping out to a 14-0 lead, but the Steelers ignited a comeback with that fake punt. Mark Royals, the punter, able to connect to Warren Williams. That was good for 44 yards. Steelers went in to score. Eventually came back to win by the score of 29-24. And several Houston players said, hey, straight up, we can beat these guys. But Pittsburgh used fake plays, whatever that means.
Well, nobody's passed the rule that you're not allowed to use the fake plays. So, you know, unless Houston can stop some of those, they might lose again.
O'Donnell is taken down on a second and 14. First sack of the day, and it's Ray Childress, who has had a sensational season, coming up with his 8th sack of the year.
Ray Childress, you know, the prototype defensive lineman in the National Football League. And, you know, he's really the lead horse on this Houston defense. You see him circling around and coming back and getting O'Donnell from behind. But, you know, I think if you have to pick out one guy on the Houston defense that can really make a difference, it's number 79, Ray Childress.
3rd and 18, back at the 26. O'Donnell able to connect with Ernie Mills, and he fights his way for a first down. And wait a moment, the Oilers feel they've stripped the ball. They claim they've taken it away. They have. Mills was battling for the marker, and Houston has come up with the football.
Ernie Mills on the reception. Dishman trying to strip it. Mills is fighting for the first down, and Bubba McDowell, number 25, just wrestles it away from him as Mills goes down. Now the question there is, was his forward progress stopped? Did the whistle blow? And apparently it didn't.
Houston taking over on the turnover. Crowd reacting. They feel that the forward progress was stopped, and the play should have been ball dead. First down for 44, off the draw, White with the cutback, working his way inside the 40-yard line. The strong safety making the stop, and a flag has been thrown.
Well, the only question here on Mills is, you know, where is he going? Is his progress stopped? Now, apparently the officials say it wasn't. Well, if it's not, then you can do that and take the ball away. It's the receiver's job to hold on to it. Bubba McDowell made a good play.
Personal foul on the defense, number 95. Unnecessary roughness, 15 yards, first down.
That is the 3rd personal foul penalty that has been called on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rick Lloyd is assessed on that personal foul.
Well, one of the things that'll feature the quickness are those type of things. Now, in a game like this, you're playing for first place. You just cannot lose the game because of things of that nature. Now, 3 personal foul calls. We understand it's a big rival. It's a big day. The hit is going to be hard, but you got to keep your poise, and you also have to play within the rules, or you're going to cost the team the game.
Houston first down at the Pittsburgh 24. Oilers lead 3-0. Tripped up. He went down the 29-yard line. Warren Moon has had trouble gripping the ball, although that was a question of being tripped up. He's had problems with a sore right hand, so he's had difficulty, as he told us yesterday, taking snaps. But in that case, he looked like he had his foot stepped on.
Well, Warren Moon, you know, did miss a little practice this week because of that. You see him tripping over his own center, Bruce Matthews, there. But Moon is the guy that could, I think, take a day off of practice and really not miss a beat. You know, when you've been in the league and played as well as he has, you know, you don't need absolutely every play.
Bob Woodson got credit for the sack of Moon on the trip. Gibbons with the catch, stepping out of bounds.
Griffin.
Warren Moon's working on this man right here. He runs one receiver up the seam, the other one on a hitch. All Moon has to look at is this man If he drops with the seam, he throws the hitch. If he goes for the hitch, he throws the seam. You see him drop with the seam, the hitch out, turn is Gibbons, nice completion.
Third down and 9, down at the 23-yard line. Houston 3, Pittsburgh nothing. 2.5 gone by in the second quarter. Ford had a long look. Webster Slaughter picking up the first down. Webster Slaughter saw extensive action last week after Jack Pardee worked him into the lineup slowly after coming over from Cleveland. Telling us yesterday he's feeling more and more comfortable with the offense.
Well, Slaughter also said that he sees the opportunity to make these kind of plays in this style of offense. But the thing that really amazed me was when Jack Pardee said yesterday, Webster Slaughter's got the best hands of any guy we got. And he's only been there 2 weeks. That's a pretty big statement.
There's a first and goal down at the 6. White. Straight ahead move. Lorenzo White stopped by Hardy Nickerson. Pittsburgh has a touchdown in 9 quarters. They had allowed only 77 points going into today, tied with Philadelphia for fewest points allowed.
Well, you remember early in the first quarter, we started to see Pittsburgh changing their defense, getting into a few of those exotic defenses once Houston approached the goal line. Now I think you're going to see it again. As a matter of fact, they're in that same alignment.
Second and goal, the 5. Picks up a couple. Donald Evans, the right defensive end, made the stop. Last week against Cincinnati, Lorenzo White held to a season low of 59 yards. He ran for 100 in the opener against Pittsburgh. As you mentioned earlier, he is number 3 in rushing in the NFL.
Well, you know, Marv, when he first got in the league, there was a lot of competition in that Houston backfield. You know, they had Mike Rozier, they had Alonzo Highsmith, Alan Pickett, and this guy is the survivor out of all of those. The rest of them are gone, and Lorenzo White's the main guy now.
Third and goal. The 3. Trying to run it in. Greg Lloyd made the stop. He was chased by Rod Woodson, who was coming on the blitz.
Well, that was the same defense that Pittsburgh used against the Oilers when they approached the red zone before. And Woodson blitzing off the slot there just left his speed and allowed Moon to get out and around the corner.
So it's a 4th and goal at the 1. Any thought of going for it, Bill, or do you kick the 19-yard field goal?
If I'm Houston, I think I may, you know, Pittsburgh won the battle if they hold them to 2 field goals. I think I may try for it right there.
However, Del Greco puts it through. So he follows up his 29-yarder earlier with a 19-yard field goal. Pittsburgh now trailing 6-0. Houston about to return to the defense. That is their defensive coordinator, Jim Eddy, who was complaining to us yesterday, Bill, that in a most unusual situation, he has to practice against what he calls cards.
Well, this is the kind of cards he needs. Houston's defense, Pittsburgh's offense. The problem is they don't have anybody to play these tight end positions. They don't have any tight ends on their roster. So they have to use linebackers like Eugene Seal to play tight end. Now tell me, does Eugene Seal look like a tight end to you, Marv?
Bit on the smaller side. Eugene going, 5'10", 253 pounds. White stone on that return, and another marker has been thrown. Seal on the stop. Eugene Seal, one of the NFL's best special teams players. Once again, the penalty coming up against Pittsburgh.
But I can identify with the problem that Jim Eddy was talking about there. You know, you don't have enough players of the right style to really simulate.
Holding on the return team during the return, number 42, 10-yard penalty, first down.
you don't have the right style of players to really simulate the style of offense they're facing with the Steelers. But so far today, the Oilers, other than that little drive where the Steelers hit a couple passes, have done pretty well against Pittsburgh's offense. Now, there's Eugene Seal. Now, he's smaller than the defensive backs and kind of one of those wide-body boxcar linebackers. Now, you know, that doesn't look like Eric Green.
Wide-body boxcar, 5'10", 253 pounds. The Pittsburgh penalty was called on Warren Williams. Foster ran outside and bumped out at the marker by the free safety, Marcus Robertson. Crowd responded. They want the late hit call on Houston. Houston has not been penalized to this point. Pittsburgh has been called for 5 penalties for 65 yards.
Well, that's very close to being an unnecessary roughness penalty, but I think Foster still had both feet in bounds. And, you know, Houston's been a team that in the past has been penalized quite a bit for that type of thing. But in the last year or so, last 2 seasons under Jack Pardee, it's calmed down quite a bit.
You saw Tunch Ilkin leave the field. Second down and 2. And the first down is picked up.
Tackled by Childress and all.
John Jackson coming in at right tackle, replacing Tunch Ilkin.
Pittsburgh ball. They're on 28 yard line.
Combination now of Strelzik and Jackson at the tackles, Love and Hasselrig at the guards, and Dawson at center. First down for Pittsburgh at their 29-yard line. 8.5 remaining in this first half. Houston up 6-0. O'Donnell with the time and has an open man in the tight end, Eric Green. A 24-yard hookup.
You can attribute that particular pass completion to the Pittsburgh offensive line pass protection, because O'Donnell is just standing back there. He fakes the draw. Green isn't open, but then Green is able to adjust his pattern behind the Houston linebacker and slide for the big completion.
Getting back to the point concerning defensive coordinator Jim Eddy of Houston, because of the run-and-shoot style of the Houston Oilers, they do not have any tight ends on the roster, so it's very difficult to practice against a club that has 2 outstanding tight ends like the Steelers. That intended for Jeff Grant. Jerry Gray providing the coverage. You're talking about Eric Green, who goes 6'5", 280, and can move. And Adrian Cooper, who goes 6'5" and 265, and like Green, also catches the ball so well.
Well, I've been in football 28 years, Marv, and I have never seen a combination of agility and size and blocking power on a team that Pittsburgh has at that position. I mean, these guys are just unbelievable to me in their size, strength, and speed.
Second and 10 at the 48. Here's the draw for Foster. Well, now, you consider perhaps carrying a tight end on the practice squad just for practice purposes, or is it wasting a spot, even on the practice squad?
Well, I think on the practice squad, you've got to use people that are geared to replace your style of offensive players if in fact they get hurt. So Jack Pardee would have a couple of wide receivers to take care, you know, of the fact that the injury can occur, and you need a lot of wide receivers. So I think it would be a waste of time to have tight ends. You saw Ilkin, the Pittsburgh veteran right tackle, leaving the stadium probably for X-ray.
Oh, what a catch! Ernie Mills with a beautiful grab. Chris Dishman with the tackle. It is a first down for Pittsburgh. That's a 15-yard pass play.
O'Donnell working to the right side. Just a little slant pass to Mills. You know, he's open. He beats Dishman to the inside. And really, that was a very, very easy throw and catch for O'Donnell.
Ernie Mills, second-year player out of Florida, a strong special teams guy who is seeing more and more action as a wide receiver. First down for the Steelers at the Houston 32-yard line. Foster. Good second effort by Foster, reaching to the 25-yard line. The report on Tunch Ilkin, lower back strain and a flare-up. This has been a testy game right from the start. We've had 3 personal foul calls against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Elkin back in the locker room. They're checking it out. Lower back strain is the word.
Well, you see the tempers flaring up, but you know, there's a lot at stake, and it's a big rivalry, and the fans are booing, and you know, there's a lot of contact out there, and that's what this game is about. Now, you know, should they be fighting? No, but the tempers flare, the patience wear thin, yeah, it certainly does. The first place is at stake, you know, and probably, or maybe, there's a good chance it's the division title at stake here today.
It's a second down and 3. Out of the 25 as we come about 5 minutes to go. First, Foster has a first down.
Pittsburgh now in their 3 tight end mode. They used 2 tight ends to start the game, and they put that third one in there, Tim Jordan, number 84 on the right side there, and they put Cooper and Green together on the left side. And as we mentioned earlier in the telecast, Dishman was really afraid of Houston's ability to adjust to this size of the Pittsburgh offense.
13 carries, 79 yards for Foster. 9th play of the drive for Pittsburgh. One play again for Foster. This time he's stopped from behind by Childress. Talking about the bad feelings between these two clubs, well, it's been also a war of words. We should have known they couldn't beat us straight up. They had to trick us to beat us. Doug Smith among several Houston Oilers who pointed that out, referring to some of the trick plays that Pittsburgh was able to execute. And then Rod Woodson quoted as saying, we really understand this offense. We read the tendencies pretty well. We anticipated their runs, passes, even their pass routes, saying that we know exactly what Warren Moon will do. Second down and 9 at the 20. O'Donnell off the punt. O'Donnell throws. Graham, touchdown.
Well, Neil O'Donnell made a pretty bad mistake right there. He was free running for the first time, well across the line of scrimmage, and then he threw the ball. I mean, I think it's illegal forward pass.
It looked like he went over the line of scrimmage. The touchdown indication.
Illegal forward pass on the offense, number 14. 5-yard penalty and a loss of down. Pass the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. Brings up third down.
Well, this is the absolute worst kind of penalty you have. Now, you just have to have better field awareness than this. He's 5 yards across the line of scrimmage. It's not like one of those judgment things where, well, gee, I'm not across, I'll take my chance. He's 5 or 6 yards down there.
So it is a third down and 10 back at the 21. Houston 6 and Pittsburgh nothing. The 2 field goals by Al Greco. 4 wideouts for the Steelers. And O'Donnell with the top. Leroy Thompson, and he lost his balance. He does have the first down. Is hurt. Lathan is down.
Well, that time it was man-to-man coverage. Leroy Thompson was matched up with Lamar Lathan, who turned his ankle in an effort to cover Thompson. You see Lathan lying in the background there, and Thompson's able to run free, take it to the 1-yard line.
NBC is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By Sony Handycam, America's most popular camcorder. By Starter. Look for the stars and you'll find Starter. And by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
First and goal for 1 as we resume. And Foster is stopped.
last play that got down to the 1 yard line, the linebacker Lamar Lathan covering the running back Thompson, man-to-man, trying to keep inside position, and you see him fall and turn his ankle there. Thompson reverses his field, takes it to the 1 yard line.
2 minutes, 45 seconds remaining. This first half, Pittsburgh trailing 6-0. Second and goal from the 1 as Foster battles his way. The Steelers indicating that the ball did cross the plane of the goal line. However, the Oilers say no, and no indication has been given. Apparently, Pittsburgh did fall short, and it brings up a third and goal inside the 1.
Well, that's just straight ahead power. Fullback leading. Foster just trying to burrow through there. He doesn't quite get the ball across the plane, and he comes up short. Good call by the official. Ball's just 1 foot short.
Timeout has been called by Houston. Marv Albert, Bill Parcells from Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. 2:24 to go, first half. And Houston with a 6-0 lead. A 7-minute drive for the Steelers. The 14th play of the drive. Third and goal. And this is a touchdown for Barry Foster. Season. He has had a superb first half.
Well, this is the same play they tried on second down. They run it on third down, and Foster's able to crease it just a little bit wider that time. But this is exactly the way the Pittsburgh Steelers want to play. 7.5 minute drive down the field. Keep Houston off the field.
Harry Anderson provided the Steelers with a 1-point lead. Pittsburgh has taken a 7-6 lead on Houston. Barry Foster capping off that 7-minute drive, 14 plays, 82 yards. Foster has run for 81 yards in the first half. And the kickoff by Anderson. Spencer Tillman will stay right there. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Reminder, next Sunday, NBC Sports presents an NFL doubleheader starting 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. Most of you will see the Eagles and the #1 defense of the NFL take on the LA Raiders, winners of 3 of the last 4. Or these Oilers will face the Browns or the Dolphins and the Colts. Second half of the doubleheader, it'll be Barry Foster and the Steelers going up against the Buffalo Bills. We'll be there for that one. Or the Chargers and the Chiefs, the Jets and the Broncos. Check your local listings. First down at the 20-yard line. To this point, the high-scoring Houston Oilers have been held well in check by the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're able to get it out to Jeffries, but he is stopped at the line by the right corner, D.J. Johnson. We're coming up to 2 minutes remaining in the first half, and a timeout is taken.
Not eligible. Winning these drawings.
Back at Three Rivers in Pittsburgh. 2 minutes to go in this first half, and there's Chuck Noll. He spent 23 years as head coach of the Steelers, a man who won 4 Super Bowls, 209 victories in all. That is the 5th highest all time. So Chuck checking out his former club, as is Bum Phillips from the Houston Oilers radio booth, head coach of the Oilers from 1975 through 1980, the winningest head coach in Houston Oiler history. Now having color commentary on the Houston Oiler radio network. Second down and 9 for Houston. Pittsburgh with a 7-6 lead. Boone finding the opening and slides for the first down. Marty Nickerson covering him up.
Pittsburgh is in a zone defense that time, and Moon wasn't really able to find anyone, and he had to scramble for the first down, but he's in his 2-minute offense now, and he's got it underway.
First down,
going for the first down.
At the 30-yard line. And he underthrew Gibbons. Several weeks back, Ernest Gibbons complaining that he was not seeing enough balls thrown his way, but the last 2 weeks he has certainly picked it up. 16 receptions the last 2 games.
Well, if you're playing the Houston Oilers, you know, you got Hayward Jeffries there who's, you know, catching near 100 balls, and Gibbons, and those are the 2 big play guys. So most of the defensive coordinators will say, hey, Leonard Harris hasn't been that instrumental, or Duncan hasn't been that instrumental in big plays over the years. Let's take Gibbons and Jeffries away and let someone else beat us. Now they got Webster Slaughter. He's another guy who can beat.
Second down and 10 from the 30. White for a short pickup out to the 34, met by Rod Woodson. So Moon is now 9 of 13, but really not getting much going. Timeout is taken by Houston. Minute 14 remaining, first half. It's a third down and 6 from the 34. That's Gibbons, 81 in motion. Lorenzo White in the open field. Well, he picks up the first down, met by Sammy Walter, a Texas product, Texas Tech, by way of McKinney, Texas.
Warren Moon just sent the 4 wide receivers down the field there, figuring Pittsburgh would be in a zone, cleared that out, and then tried to dump it to Lorenzo White. White is a big part of the Houston passing game today.
First down at the 44, now Moon. That was jarred loose. Darren Curry with the hard hit. And Leonard Harris could not hold on. He had it, and he took a shot.
In reading the quotes from the Houston receivers this year, that ball's a little behind it. Houston receivers are definitely aware of the physical aspect of the Pittsburgh secondary. As a matter of fact, most of them say, hey, this is the most physical group of defensive backs we play against all year. That was a perfect example by Darren Perry right there.
Darren Perry, 8th round draft pick, rookie from Penn State. Second down and 10 from the 44. Moon in trouble. Shovels in a dangerous attempt intended for Jeffries, and it is ruled incomplete. Parnell Lake was all over Hayward Jeffries.
I'm really impressed with the variety of the Pittsburgh defense. Now this time they're blitzing Moon. 2 plays ago they had a maximum 8 drop coverage. Then they had a 4-man rush. And they will just not do the same thing against Moon on successive downs. He's too smart, he's too capable, and he's too efficient in his execution. So they're mixing it just for the purpose of mixing it.
Duncan to the right, Jeffries left for this third down and 10. That's Harris. Slot left. Jeffries broke a tackle, and that is hit down at midfield by Nickerson.
Well, they went back to that maximum coverage that time, only rushed 3 linemen and dropped 8 again. So they blitz, they drop 8, they blitz, they rush 4, and it's giving Houston a little problem right now, in all honesty.
The crowd responding to the solid effort by the defensive unit. With time running down in the first half, the Pittsburgh Steelers lead the Houston Oilers by the score of 7-6. A terrific defensive effort by the Steelers. And back at Three Rivers Stadium, the second half kickoff returned by Darrell Lewis, the second-year player out of Arizona, and Richard Shelton involved on the stop. A 7-6 Pittsburgh lead as we open up this third quarter. A look at the Keystone Light halftime statistics of most significant, Bill, the time of possession for the Steelers. They lead the NFL in that department.
Well, that's exactly the way the Steelers would have liked to play the first half if you could have run it up before the game. Bill Cowher, 17 minutes, leading in the yardage statistically, keeping Houston's offense off the field. Now, the adjustments that Houston made should show up right here in this first series against Pittsburgh.
Houston starting from its 24. The completion to Curtis Duncan was covered by the left corner, Rod Woodson. And for Duncan, that is his first reception. Marv Albert, Bill Parcells from Three River Stadium. Capacity crowd, better than 59,000 on a very chilly, overcast day. They are expecting rain later on. Quick scoring recap. 29-yard field goal by Al Del Greco in the first quarter. In the second, Del Greco again from 19. Going for the 3 instead of the 6 on a 4th and goal from the 1. And then Barry Foster capped off a long 7-minute drive, scoring the touchdown. Oh, was Warren. What a catch for Jeffries, though. And Warren Moon shaken up. He took a shot from Rod Woodson.
That was the same strategy. You see Carnell Lake, number 37, from the left side, Woodson from the right side, that O.J. was talking about at halftime. Blitzing off the slots. We saw it the first half. They came out. They were able to get one of the slots protected, but not the other one. And Woodson was able to level Moon.
Rod Woodson in the first meeting with Houston at the Astrodome had a key interception and a 57-yard return leading to the winning touchdown. He had a very strong first half here this afternoon. You see Lake, number 37, from the left, and Woodson making the contact from the other side.
The last thing the average person wants.
Hertz's fastest service now in more locations coast to coast. By DeskJet Printers from Hewlett-Packard. DeskJet Printers make it happen. By Kentucky Fried Chicken. Nobody's cooking like today's KFC. And by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right.
Here are the key guys, Carnell Lake and Rod Woodson. Woodson coming to Moon's face. Lake coming from the backside. They're able to block Lake, but they're not able to block Woodson, and that's what causes the injury to Warren Moon. See, the lineman comes out, blocks Lake on Moon's backside, but Woodson gets him from the front side. Lake coming off, Munchak coming out to block him, but Woodson's free on the front side. Now, normally a quarterback, when a guy comes into his face like that, is able to get rid of the ball quickly enough to avoid that look, but Moon was trying to wait till the receiver came out and, showed a lot of coverage holding it that long.
And Moon did complete it. They are still checking over Warren Moon. Cody Carlson, the backup quarterback, has been warming up. There's Cody. He has been the perennial backup to Warren Moon. For the most part, he's done mop-up duty, a 6-year man out of Baylor. Thus far this season, he's thrown only 7 passes, completed 3 for 22 yards.
The thing about that injury to Warren Moon, a lot of the viewers may think that it's the hit in front that gets you, but that's really not usually what happens. Usually the hit in front causes you on the AstroTurf to hit the back of your helmet, and that's what probably happened to Warren Moon in that case. It wasn't the frontal attack that got him, but when he knocked him onto his back, he may have hit his head, and that's why he was kind of so long getting up, but he looks like he's all right.
So Warren needed a little slap in the head there on the sideline saying, nice going. That's just what he wanted. We'll have a report on Warren in a moment. Meanwhile, Cody Carlson has come on. Back in 1990, Cody Carlson entered the game against the Steelers, led the Oilers to victory. That's the final game of the regular season. First down at the 41. Receivers look to be confused. The handoff to Lorenzo White. And he reaches out to the 45-yard line, stopped by the strong safety, Carnell Lake.
Cody Carlson coming into the game apparently called an audible there, and the receivers didn't quite know what was going on, so they were trying to communicate. See Givens looking back in and Slaughter looking back in. What's going on? Carlson tells him. Givens tells Slaughter, but they're a little late releasing on that communication problem.
Second down and 6. Houston at its 45. They're trailing Pittsburgh 7-6. Short setup by Carlson. Able to get it off to White, and he has a first down. Donald Evans, the right defensive end, making the stop. Cody Carlson owns every Baylor career passing record. 28 years old. He has thrown, going into today, only 7 passes this season.
And it seems like Carlson, too, is using the Lorenzo White passing threat as well as Moon. White is definitely a big part of this attack today, throwing and running.
First down at the Pittsburgh 47.
There's an audible here, sure.
And Carson completes inside the 40, that short of the first down. Haywood Jeffries with his 5th catch of the day, stopped by Donald Evans.
Now this is the same blitz against Carlson. Both of those guys coming off the slots that they just knocked Moon out of the game with. But you see Lorenzo White blocks one guy and the lineman blocks the other, and they're able to complete the ball this time. That's the same identical defensive call on the part of the Steelers, but this time Houston executes. Last time there was a mental error.
Second down and 2 at the Pittsburgh 39. White makes the turn and accelerates for the first down. Aaron Perry forced him out of bounds, so Cody Carlson has taken over for the shaken-up Warren Moon, and the Oilers continue to move down the field.
Well, one of the dilemmas that the run-and-shoot offense presents the defense is you want to take Gibbons and Jeffries and Slaughter out of the game. You've got to free up something, and the experience of Jack Pardee and the offensive coaches at Houston in finding what you're giving up is readily apparent right now. And what the Steelers have to do now is change and stop Lorenzo White.
First down at the 24-yard line. Carlson throwing the middle, has Slaughter for another Houston first down. Aaron Perry with the stop, along with Rod Woodson. We're told that Warren Moon has suffered a concussion. No word on whether he will return.
That's probably from hitting his head on the back of the turf, the back of his helmet. You see they're talking to him. They're trying to, talk about things he should be familiar with. But I doubt that we'll see Warren Moon the rest of the day. He looks like he's done for the day right now. And hopefully he's okay.
A-Rod Carlson has done very well. 3 of 3, 30 yards. First down at the 11. Houston trailing Pittsburgh by the score of 7-6. Carlson throws. Intended for Curtis Duncan, covered by Sammy Walker.
Well, that was that same blitz. That's the same blitz again. They're bringing those guys off the slots, and that's the way they're attempting to disrupt the Houston quarterbacks. And you see he knows the blitz is coming, throws it a little high and inside that time to Duncan, and well covered by Sammy Walker.
Ninth play of the drive. A meeting of the two clubs atop the Central Division, Pittsburgh and Houston, each with records of 5-2. Opening day in Houston, Pittsburgh defeated the Oilers by the score of 29-24. Carlson getting the protection. Touchdown! Webster Slaughter with his second touchdown as a member of the Houston Oilers.
That time, Pittsburgh went to the well one too many times. They blitzed that safety again. This time they try to blitz him up the middle. But you see Houston sees it coming. It's well protected. Carlson's able to find the one-on-ones all the way across the field. Webster Slaughter matches up well against Carnell Lake, the strong safety. Wide receiver against the strong safety. Carlson finds it for the touchdown.
And here is Al Del Greco. Adds the extra point to give the Oilers a 13-7 lead. And what a performance by Cody Carlson, coming off the bench, relieving the injured Warren Moon, and takes the Oilers right down the field.
On the last play, on the last Houston touchdown, the free safety, Darren Perry, blitzing, well blocked, and the wide receiver, Webster Slaughter, running for the touchdown. He's against Lake, pick it up, throw it to Slaughter for the nice touchdown.
Kickoff return by Woodson. Return by Rod Woodson. Went wide and went for 34 yards. Finally forced out by the backup quarterback, Tony Brown.
Well, it's going to be all for nothing because there's a clip on the part of the Steelers or one of those illegal blocks that penalties. I think Bill Cowher, if this game doesn't go their way, you think it's right to the back by the receiving team during the return, number 87. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Hello?
Thus Pittsburgh starts out.
Okay.
9-yard line, 9:48 remaining in this third quarter. To Foster.
Audio's on there. It's very
Foster running for 8 yards in the first half. Jeff made the and we'd like to apologize for the audio place here in the third quarter. Bill, I wish you'd just clear your throat. That would take care of it.
See Bill Cowher down there clearing his throat with some of those defensive guys and the special teams guys that are getting these penalties.
And 3 of those penalties, personal fouls. Second down and 9. Play action. O'Donnell took fire run. He's stripped. It is picked up by the Oilers for the touchdown. Ray Childress scooping it up and running it in. So Houston extends to a 19-7 lead.
A good pass rush. O'Donnell unable to find any receivers. Stripped from behind by number 76, Jeff Alm, and then Ray Childress, who's in pursuit, comes over and picks it up. And you know, it always comes down in these big games to plays like this that wind up turning the game around for one team or another. And sure enough, a guy that really wasn't even supposed to play too much, Jeff Alm, Doug Smith would have been in there, makes the big play, strips O'Donnell. Childress is there timely and runs it in.
And Al Del Greco converts the extra point. The Oilers pouncing on a turnover. And now lead the Steelers 20-7. Houston's defensive captain, Ray Childress, with his first NFL touchdown. Jeff Alm came up with the strip. It was gobbled up by Childress, and he ran it in. There's Alm in his third season out of Notre Dame, and now trailing by the score of 20-7. What does this do to the Pittsburgh game plan as we watch the kickoff handled by Dwight Stone?
You know, with Pittsburgh being down 13 points now, it does change their game plan to a degree. The clock is not really a factor as of yet, but as Ron Earhart mentioned, we don't want to put the onus on our quarterback to win the game. We get to the beginning of the fourth quarter, he's going to have to put the onus on the quarterback because that's the only way they're going to be able to catch up. So Foster is kind of eliminated as being the key factor in the Pittsburgh offense.
Dwight Stone shaking up on that return.
Well, this is a guy they need also because he's a guy that's capable of his athletic ability and just raw speed of making a big play quickly for the Steelers. So this would be a big injury for the Steelers if Stone's unable to return.
White Stone being helped off the field following the kickoff return. The Steelers have already lost their starting right tackle, Coach Ilkin, out for the game because of a lower back strain. So they're going with the combination of Justin Strelzik and John Jackson at the tackles. Steelers first down from their 20. Houston with a 20-7 lead. And Barry Foster stiff arms his way, stopped by the right corner, Jerry Gray.
It's obvious here that Pittsburgh is going to try to stay as much as possible with their original game plan, as we mentioned. But as time goes down here in the third quarter, they'll have to depart from that if the score remains the same. Of course, when you run an offense like Pittsburgh runs, you just cannot afford turnovers and penalties. And they've had 3 turnovers today and 80 yards in penalties, and that'll stop anybody.
Foster advanced for 7 to second down and 3. And Foster is stopped. Short pickup. Tonight, following a paid political announcement, it'll be an all-new eyewitness video. Then the stars of Saturday Night Live will lampoon the presidential election. Dana Carvey, Ford, Chevy Chase, Phil Hartman, and more will set up the presidential candidates in a 2-hour special. Saturday Night Live's presidential match. That's tonight, right here on NBC. Third down and 1 at the 29. Houston 20. And Pittsburgh 7. Foster is stopped back behind the line by Ray Childress. Another outstanding game for Childress. A player who unselfishly made the move from defensive end to defensive tackle 2 years ago, and he's made the Pro Bowl now at both positions. 8th year out of Texas A&M.
You know, Jack Pardee was telling us yesterday that, you know, he really hasn't been all that happy with the way Houston's defense has played throughout the course of the whole year. And he said, you know, last week's second half against the Bengals was the best that they've done. And apparently this defensive effort is good enough today, too.
Hi, Super Dave Osborne here with Hager Richardson.
Stone, who has suffered a bruised left knee, and it is a question mark as to whether he will return. Quarterback DJ Johnson suffered a bruised left knee. He is also sitting it out. Richard Shelton has replaced Johnson, and he is being called a questionable. Richard Shelton, 3-year man out of Liberty, has spent time with Montreal in the World League, is in at right corner. It's a first down at the 25. Houston back to the offense. They lead Pittsburgh 20-7. 6:45 remaining in the third quarter. Cody Carlson completing to Ernest Givens. Cody Carlson taking over for the injured Warren Moon, who suffered a concussion taking a hard hit. And Carlson has hit 5 out of 6, 47 yards, 1 touchdown.
Well, the best thing about being a backup quarterback in this offense, it's not a multiple offense. You have basically the same formation out there all the time. The guy standing on the sideline, like Carlson was the whole first half, can watch these Pittsburgh defensive adjustments and know pretty much what he's going to get when he goes into the game. So backing up in this offense is not quite as hard as backing up in another style of offense.
Second down and 2, and that is incomplete. Although the Steelers picked it up and they don't feel a complete pass, but it's being waved off.
Well, the only question there is, did he throw it forward or sideways? And that was a screen pass. If he threw it sideways, it's a touchdown.
Incomplete pass on the play.
If he threw it forward, which they're saying he did, then it's an incomplete pass. Yeah, he threw it forward, no doubt about that. So the Steelers really don't have a right.
That creates a third down and 2 at the 33-yard line. Jeffries to the left. Duncan to the right. Gibbons in the slot. Now Slaughter in motion. Jeffries on the reception for the first down. Run out by Shelton.
Well, Hayward Jeffries working one-on-one there. That looks like a zone defense, but it's really not. It's a man-to-man. Donald Evans dropped back in the same defense where they blitzed off the slots and dropped the defensive lineman out. But Houston has made the protection adjustments necessary to block the Pittsburgh blitz now. So the quarterbacks are confident and are able to complete the ball against those blitzes the Steelers have used against them today.
Jeffries, despite a sore back, has caught 6 balls, and Carlson is going deep. And hit Jeffries on the shoulder. Covered by Darren Perry. We're set for an update. Let's go to Bob Costas at our New York studio.
Marv, Buffalo a huge favorite at home, trailing 7-0 at the half. They get even early in the third when Kelly rolls right and hits Pete Metzelaars for the 3-yard touchdown. Then moments later, Sean McCarthy, the punter for New England, is unable to handle a snap, retreats to the end zone, tackled for the safety. Buffalo has the lead, 9-7.
All right, Bob, and next Sunday it'll be Pittsburgh playing at Buffalo. Second down and 10. Houston at the 38-yard line. They lead the Steelers by the score of 27. Carlson's pass incomplete to the hands of Webster Slaughter. Rod Woodson on the coverage.
Tony Carlson really had some mustard on that one. He tried to squeeze it into a pretty tightly covered receiver, a little high, but Pittsburgh's converging on that receiver pretty well, and he had a little extra velocity on that, and that may be why they were unable to maintain the possession.
For the first 7 games of this season, Pittsburgh allowed only 21 points in the second half. Houston already has scored 14 in the second half, although one was on a recovered fumble running by Childress. Carlson got it off to White, and he is stopped. Stopped for a loss on the play by Gary Howe, the backup nose tackle.
Well, that's the screen pass that's available to the run and shoot offense, and anticipating a Pittsburgh zone, which they did get. It was a zone, but the pursuit from Greg Lloyd on the pass rush back, and the linebackers and Gary Howe, number 78, converged on Lorenzo White before the screen was able to form.
Here's Greg Montgomery for a rare punt, only his second of the day. He's punted only 19 times this season. Only San Francisco has punted less. And here they come as Rod Woodson awaits that Montgomery punt. And Woodson tossed it up. But was he down? Apparently it was blown dead. 45-yard punt and a 5-yard return, and it will be Pittsburgh ball.
That was one of those plays where they said that the ground cannot cause the fumble. Now Woodson's carrying the ball loosely there, but he is down. Now, it is a misnomer that the ground cannot cause a fumble, because it can cause a fumble if you just go to the ground without being tackled and lose the ball. It is a fumble. So you hear that expression, the ground can't cause a fumble. It really can, but in that case, he was tackled and down, and therefore it wasn't a fumble.
Instead, it is Pittsburgh starting out at the 25-yard line. 4:14 remaining in the third quarter. O'Donnell could not find anyone. Goes the short route. He has Hodge. Hodge with the first down. Hit out by Eddie Robinson. That's good for 20 yards.
What Pittsburgh would like to accomplish here as the quarter winds down is, get at least one of these scores back. Now, there's good pressure there on the outside. Sean Jones wanted a holding call, but O'Donnell stepped up into the pocket and got it to Hodge, who, Merle Hodge was the guy that had caught a couple of years ago 50 passes or more, and he's had to adjust to a new role in the Pittsburgh offense this year.
Steelers first down from their 45. It's a sideline pattern for Jeff Graham. Jeff Graham, among the leaders in catches in the AFC. That is only his first of the day, number 35 for the season.
Jeff Graham working against Jerry Gray there. Single coverage, just a little what they call a basic cut. And it's an outside pattern, but Ron Earhart calls it basic. And Graham's able to make a nice catch. Now, Pittsburgh is using Leroy Thompson, one of their running backs, as a wide receiver at the bottom of the screen here. And then O'Donnell's going back to the flat side.
And O'Donnell completes a 19-yard hookup with Ernie Mills. Neil O'Donnell is now 9 for 15, and he's hit on 9 of his last 11.
Well, when they put Leroy Thompson out to the other side, that's kind of a little bit of a distraction for the Houston defense. They think he's out there for a specific reason, and then sometimes you're able to counter that offensively by going back to the side that you really want to throw to. Good strategy on the part of Ron Earhart.
There's Foster. Good-looking drive here by Pittsburgh with 2:25 remaining in the third quarter.
Basically, what Pittsburgh's trying to do here now in this drive is spread the field, much like Houston does, and then try to isolate some situations back to the receivers, Graham, or the possibility of Thompson. Now, in this red zone, the guy you got to watch for is Eric Green, the tight end.
Second down and 4 at the 18-yard line. Straight ahead move by Foster. Reaching inside the 15. A reminder, next Saturday afternoon here on NBC, more Notre Dame football action coming your way as they go up against undefeated Boston College. Coverage starting at 1 p.m. Eastern with Notre Dame Saturday.
There's no doubt where my allegiance is in that game, Marv. As you know, Tom Coughlin, one of our former assistant coaches at the Giants, doing a great job with the Boston College program. So I'll be tuned in for that one if possible.
It is a 3rd and 1 at the 15. And here's Foster surging ahead for the first down. Harry Foster has gone over 100 yards for the 6th time this season. He's the first Steeler coming into today to have 5 100-yard games in a season since Franco Harris did it back in 1983. Barry Foster, a native of Texas, grew up just outside of Dallas in Duncanville, Texas, lives in Grand Prairie. 5th-round draft pick, has come a long way out of Arkansas in his 3rd NFL season. First down at the 13-yard line. O'Donnell completes. Mills again. He's down at the 6th, and for Ernie Mills, that is his 4th catch of the day.
Pittsburgh certainly has kind of changed up. You see Mills working across in front of Eric Green. Lamar Lathan closes down on the coverage, but O'Donnell is really impressing me with the way he's able to find these 2nd and 3rd guys on this drive. He's done a very, very good job with that pass offense.
2nd and 2, time running down in the 3rd quarter. He will not get it off. That is the end of the 3rd quarter. They'll move back down to the other end of the field. Houston 20, Pittsburgh 7. We'll be back after these words from your local station. 35-year-old Bill Cowher in his first season as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh area native, one-time NFL linebacker, long-time assistant coach, and Jack Pardee in his 3rd season as head coach of Houston. He's won Coach of the Year in 4 different leagues: NFL, WFL, USFL, and the Southwest Conference. 2nd down and 2 as we open up in his 4th quarter. And he is right at the marker as Barry Foster.
Down by Jones and Robertson.
Let's see where they spot it. It appears to be short of a first down.
I think they're going to have a measurement here on the...
Official timeout. Measuring the down.
Yes, they're calling for the yardsticks. Houston 20 and Pittsburgh 7. The Oilers able to capitalize on a turnover. The fumble by O'Donnell picked up by Childress. One up to the touchdown. Well, it is a first down. Ball reset, and it will be a first and goal for the Steelers. This current drive, 8 plays, 72 yards. It has consumed 4.5 minutes, and O'Donnell is 4 of 4 on the drive. Now Graham splitting out to the left side. The lone deep back is Foster. Foster off the swing. He's stopped back behind the line.
That play was very, very well defensed by the Houston Oilers. Pittsburgh was trying to do there is hope that Houston was in a man-to-man defense, which they weren't. They were in a zone, and put those 3 receivers together in what Jim Eddy calls a teacup formation, and that's what Pittsburgh tried to do, but Houston was ready to adjust to it and was in the zone defense, and as a result, O'Donnell had to let it out to Foster.
Foster stopped by Lathan, who's back in there despite the ankle sprain suffered earlier. Here's Foster. Rick Raff with the Rats on Barry Foster.
Third down.
It'll be a third and goal.
Well, you see the consternation on Bill Cowher's face because he knows that this drive, almost has to result in a touchdown if he wants to get his ball club back in the game. So you're looking at the 2 biggest plays of the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers right here.
Play of the drive. The ball is 2.5 yards away from the goal line. Play action. Adrian Cooper. There was a flag thrown. Thrown in the end zone.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting on number 87 on the offense. 15-yard penalty that will be assessed on the kickoff.
The taunting called on the man who caught that touchdown pass, Adrian Cooper, in his second season out of Oklahoma. Who came on last year after Eric Green went down with a broken ankle. Here's Henry Anderson. So Houston now leading 20-14.
See O'Donnell faking to Foster on the bootleg. Cooper wide open, easy touchdown. And, I guess the officials are really cracking down on that demonstration thing.
It takes...
Well, the officials have been instructed any of this undue stuff and running over to a guy like that and spiking the ball and, that kind of thing to crack down because that breeds the violent conflicts and that's why they're penalizing Pittsburgh back to the 20-yard line now. That play right there is another example of the things that have hurt the Steelers today. They score a touchdown, but they give 2 first downs back right away in field position with a penalty.
Lewis and Tillman back for the kickoff. Spencer Tillman with the return. And brings across the 30-yard line. Warren Williams made the stop. 12:53 to go in this 4th quarter. Houston in front of Pittsburgh, 20-14. Now the Oilers with Cody Carlson at quarterback for the injured Warren Moon will start out from their 31.
And now the pressure has reversed itself. Here's a backup quarterback in the game in hostile territory. The crowd's all into it. The defense is into it. The pressure now goes on Houston's offense to execute and drive the ball for a field goal or a touchdown.
Walker was thrown. Play was blown dead.
I think the time clock.
Away game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So that's what that home field will do for you, that noise, and now you're trying to call an audible, and the receivers can't hear it, and the quarterbacks concentrate on getting the play to the receivers, and he forgets about the 25-second clock, which is exactly what happened right there. Now it's 1st and 15.
Houston hit with his first penalty of the day. That is a first down, 15 from the 26. That's Slaughter in motion. Penalty flags flying. Carlson brought down. Donald Evans getting to the quarterback. Cody Carlson. And the penalty again against the Oilers. There's the referee, Ed Huckley.
False start prior to the snap on the offense, number 78. Prior to the snap. No play, 5-yard penalty, and remains first down.
Well, you want to know what home field advantage is. This is what they're talking about right here. It's not that the stadium's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's the fact that the crowd is into the game, can be a factor, can cause those type of things to happen. That's what home field advantage means. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have it right at this moment.
It's a 1st and 20 at the 21 off the penalty call on the left tackle, down Maggs. Carlson goes sideline. And the immediate hit put on by Sammy Walker on Curtis Duncan. It's a 9-yard advance, bringing the ball to the 30.
That's a nice play by Cody Carlson, though. He's getting half of the yardage back. It's a loose zone. Curtis Duncan just sets up on the sideline, and Carlson finds him. Now, he wasn't too greedy there. It was 1st and 20. He's got it down to 2nd and 11. He'll try to get it down to 3rd and 3 or 4 right here.
Pittsburgh getting back into it with that long drive, 11 plays, 75 yards, capped off by the touchdown pass from O'Donnell to Cooper. They are trailing by 6 points. And Carlson completes. Ernest Gibbons with the beautiful catch. 16-yard advance. And once again, words being exchanged, finger pointed between Gibbons and backup defensive back Solomon Wilcots.
And again, you have to credit Cody Carlson there because he was in a deep hole, 1st and 20. Really, a tough situation for the quarterback, and he's got him out of that hole right now. That's a nice catch by Gibbons there, scooping that ball right off the turf.
Gibbons with his 4th reception of the day. And despite the lack of size, 5'9", 172, he goes right to the middle of the field. He takes a pounding.
He sure does. And the thing that he told us yesterday, too, is when he gets 5 yards down the field is when he makes his read, and they have up to 7 or 8 reads on each play, and that's really amazing to me. He said Wednesday's practices, they make so many mistakes, they're just disastrous.
It's a first down at the 45-yard line. 11 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter.
30 seconds to the clock. 30 seconds to the clock. The clock was never stopped during the discussion.
Adjustment on the play clock.
Thank you.
Request by the referee, Ed Huckley. This crowd has been into it, providing problems for the Houston offense. And now with that movement, another flag is thrown.
This noise is certainly causing a problem to somebody. Looks like we got another 1st and 15, and and Carlson's going to have to get him out of the hole again.
Start prior to the snap on the offense, number 66 and 73. 5-yard penalty, and remains first down.
That's the right guard, Doug Dawson, along with the right tackle, David Williams.
Well, here's that noise, you know, and Dawson's just lunging just a little, just leaning, and that constitutes motion. And defense is allowed to react to that, and that's what Pittsburgh did.
Houston hit with its third penalty on this drive, and it is back to a 1st and 15 at the 40. Carlson's pass deflected. Lloyd got a piece of it.
Well, that's the thing in talking to Warren Moon yesterday that they were most concerned about, that very thing. The defensive lineman of Pittsburgh getting in front of the sight line of the quarterback. This time he's trying to throw a screen, so it's a relatively easy thing for Lloyd to do. He just has to time his jump, but Pittsburgh is very adept at blocking passes on the line of scrimmage, and if I'm not wrong, that's about the 10th or 11th pass they've knocked down this year, and that's an inordinate amount.
Second down at 15. 81 Gibbons in motion. Carlson goes sideline, but it's caught out of bounds. It is incomplete. Curtis Duncan made the catch, but out of bounds.
Pittsburgh wasn't able to put much pressure on Carlson, and Duncan's right foot just did not get down, and that's why they called it out of bounds. You know, you have to get both feet down, and his right one is in the air and does not come down in bounds. And the official's right on top. That's a tough call, but a good call by the official.
Houston and Pittsburgh battling for the lead of the AFC Central. They come in with records of 5-2. A third down and 15, and a problem with the snap. Steelers claiming that they've recovered a fumble, and they have. Fumbled snap, turning it over to the Steelers. It looked to be Greg Lloyd who came up with it.
Well, Carlson just doesn't get the exchange from his center, Bruce Matthews, and Pittsburgh was in that blitz, so they had a lot of guys coming, and Carlson just didn't come up with the ball. You see it laying around on the ground. He misses it, and Lloyd, because he's blitzing, comes inside and recovers. Now, here's a real test for the Houston defense right here. Pittsburgh's defense has put their offense in position to take the lead, and now we'll see how Houston responds to the challenge.
Steelers down by 6, take over at the Houston 38-yard line. Foster bringing to the 35. Who has played a very strong game in on the stop. Capacity crowd just under 60,000 here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Oilers with a 20-14 lead on the Steelers. In the first half, field goals by Al Del Greco from 29 to 19. Barry Foster with the Pittsburgh touchdown. Steelers led 7-6. Houston able to come back in the third quarter with 14 points. And O'Donnell is brought down. Third sack of the day. The combination of Jones and Childress getting to the quarterback, Neil O'Donnell.
Sean Jones and Ray Childress, now two of the taller defensive linemen in the NFL. Jones pushing the tackle John Jackson back into the quarterback Neil O'Donnell, and then Childress comes around and sacks him. Now O'Donnell's in that same situation Carlson was in, 3rd and 15. 3rd and 16.
Nancy Thigpen is flanked out to the left side. O'Donnell looked that way. Then goes Green for a first down.
Eric Green unbelievable throw and catch by Eric Green. It looks easy on the screen there, but he had to wait until Green got down. The line protection held well, and that is the biggest play of the game for Pittsburgh right now.
24-yard pickup. O'Donnell has hit his last 9 straight. Here's Foster with the hole inside the 15.
Well, you see immediately now the Pittsburgh offense, Bill Cowher, Ron Harris, they're back in their original game plan mode. Foster is back in the game now because the score is close. O'Donnell's able to mix run and pass. Time is not a factor, and they're right back to their game plan because that's the way Pittsburgh wants to play. Foster's back in it.
Yes, this has been a balanced attack by the Steelers. It's now a 2nd down and 3 at the 13. Oilers 20 and the Steelers 14. Foster to the middle of the line, comes up short of the 1st down. It's been a very strong performance by the 3rd-year quarterback out of Maryland, Neil O'Donnell. He has hit on his last 9 in a row. Overall, 13 of 19, 196 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Also coughed one up as he was stripped of the ball, picked up by Childress, who was able to run it in. Neil O'Donnell, his first full season as a starter. Started 8 games last year when Bubby Briscoe went down. Foster has a 1st down.
I think there may be a face mask penalty or a holding penalty on Pittsburgh. I'm not sure which, but the back official threw the flag, and I think it's a face mask on the Oilers.
Mask on the defense. The 5-yard penalty, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Foster on the handoff up the middle. I think they catch him right there on the face mask. I can't quite see the number of the Houston defender, but Cowher, I don't know whether he's happy about the face mask or the fact that it went in Pittsburgh's way.
Well, it's a 1st and goal at the 5. O'Donnell again with the play action throw. Green to tie the game at 20. Will attempt the point after. Pittsburgh has come from behind and they lead by 1.
Well, it's the same style of play they threw to Cooper the other way. This time, O'Donnell faked the handoff to the left, bootleg back to his right. The other time he went to Cooper.
In a frenzy as they have seen the Steelers come back from a 20-7 deficit. They now lead by the score 21-20. Spencer Tillman on the return. He is rocked as he crossed the 20-yard line. Solomon Wilcox on the tackle, but a penalty marker is thrown.
Penalties are starting to even up a little, and Houston's getting all of them at the exact wrong time in the game, the 4th quarter.
Holding by the receiving team during the return, number 50. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
It's called on Eddie Robinson. Yes, Houston was hit with 3 penalties on that last Pittsburgh drive to the touchdown. It went 7 plays, 38 yards. It consumed 3 minutes, 32 seconds. Houston First down from the 10. Cody Carlson has come on for the injured Warren Moon, who went down suffering a concussion off a hard hit. Carlson with the bullet pass for Jeffries right at the marker. Has a first down. He was stopped by Carnell Lake.
The touchdown, the key guys, Eric Green, they fake the Foster in here. O'Donnell makes the fake, bootlegs out. Green comes across. O'Donnell finds him in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. O'Donnell making a nice fake. Houston pursues. They kind of wave at Green going across the back of the end zone, but he's able to get open for the touchdown.
And Eric Green still wearing a harness on an injured shoulder. Missed the first 4 weeks of the season. He was injured right at the start of the last meeting against Houston. First down at the 21. It's a draw for White. And a short pickup. Rod Woodson made the stop. 2 key plays in that last drive leading to the Pittsburgh touchdown. First, the fumbled snap by Cody Carlson.
Well, that got him the field position, and then, of course, Pittsburgh didn't look like they were going to do much with it. This 3rd and 16 play came up, and O'Donnell was able to get it to Eric Green, and that led to the touchdown. But now, Houston has kind of gotten out from the 10-yard line, and the pressure's really on the Houston offense here. Time, Pittsburgh defense, crowd, everything's working against Houston.
Second down and 9. Carlson can't find anyone. And he is being driven back, and down he goes. Gary Howell collecting his first sack of the season. Gary Howell, a first-year player out of Colorado, spent the first portion of the season on the practice squad.
Gary Howell's kind of staying on the line of scrimmage, trying to mirror Cody Carlson. Now Carlson can't find his receiver, and Howell just releases him. And of course, then you got a lot of black jerseys going after that guy. Once they got him hog-tied, they're wrestling down.
Howell and Steed have been seeing quite a bit of action at nose tackle. Steed emerging as the starter with Gerald Williams out with ligament damage in his knee. 5:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. Houston 3rd and 16. Back at its 15-yard line. Carlson goes the middle in a crowd. It was almost picked off. Pass intended for Webster Slaughter.
Well, they had the right idea. They got Slaughter past the first down marker. They certainly didn't throw it in front of the first down marker, but Pittsburgh was just all over him. You see number 54, Hardy Nickerson, just, I think, raising the ball. Perry closing in, and they're able to make the play. Now, I think the Houston defense is going to have to start thinking about using their timeouts, because I promise you, I know Ron Harhart pretty well, and I'm pretty certain they're going to try to keep the ball on the ground if they can once they get possession of it.
The punt by Montgomery. Line driving it, keeping away from Woodson, who had to go across the field, and then runs it out at midfield. 4:56 remaining in the 4th quarter. 47-yard punt. 11-yard, 4:08 to go in the 4th. O'Donnell stepping up and then wanted to go sideline, but he saw Ernie Mills was well covered. Threw it away. Darren Lewis all over Ernie Mills.
Great job by the Houston defense there. That's exactly what they had to do in order to give them now a chance to come back and get the field goal that can win the game. And Jim Eddy has made some good defensive calls, but the big play was that first down play by Bummer McDowell, tackling Foster for the loss, and that ruined the series for the Steelers.
So Webster Slaughter awaits the punt from Martin Royals. Slaughter with the move along the sideline, able to stay in bounds. A 45-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Or did he step out? Let's take a look here. Yes, he did.
Right on the sideline. Again, Pittsburgh has him pinned back, but with 3:53 and 3 timeouts, the Oilers have plenty of time to drive the ball down the field for a field goal.
Houston's offensive coordinator, Kevin Gilbride.
Now the pressure's back on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Pittsburgh 21, Houston 20. Houston from its 14. Nothing there for White. Evans making the stop. Been a strong game for the right defensive end. Donald Evans combining that time with Gerald Williams. Evans, originally a second-round draft choice of the Los Angeles Rams back in '87. And he's a guy, Bill, has bounced from fullback, defensive end, to linebacker with the Rams and Eagles, and now at defensive end.
He's found a home here with the Steelers. Now that play selection there by the Oilers, they were just trying to surprise Pittsburgh with that run, hoping they could crease White right up the middle.
2nd and 9 at the 15. Jeffries, he is covered well, could not make the move. Number 24, Richard Shelton with the stop. Shelton came on for the injured starter, DJ Johnson.
Well, this is the play of the game now for the Oilers. This third down, they're not in 4-down territory. I'm sure Jack Pardee is, with all his timeouts, will punt the ball if he doesn't make this first down. So this is the biggest play of the game so far for both teams, really.
It's a 3rd and 7 at the 17, 2.5 remaining in the 4th quarter. And Carlson completes to Jeffries for a first down. Shelton with the coverage. Haywood Jeffries with his 9th catch of the day for 69 yards.
Haywood Jeffries working against the substitute corner, Richard Shelton. A very good throw by Cody Carlson. That was only a 3-man rush by the Steelers, so that allowed Jeffries time to work down the field for the first down.
First down of the 33. Cody Carlson taking over for Warren Moon, who went out with a concussion in the 3rd quarter. Carlson completes to Gibbons. Another Houston first down. Nickerson on the tackle.
And that'll bring up the 2-minute warning. And, Jack Pardee now is just wondering. Well, Houston uses a timeout here, or the referee stopped the clock for some reason. Houston uses a timeout.
40-second timeout.
But Jack Pardee just wondering how far he's got to go for the Del Greco field goal now.
For those of you who may have just joined us in the opening minute of the 3rd quarter, Warren Moon took this shot from the combination of Rod Woodson, Parnell Lake. Woodson getting the good hit on Moon. He went down and was forced to leave because of suffering a concussion. Cody Carlson came on. He's been primarily a backup over the years for Moon, and Carlson's done a nice job. 14 of 22, 127 yards. He did fumble. That led to the go-ahead touchdown run by Pittsburgh, but off the bench and has been impressive.
Well, the most impressive thing to me, Marv, is, hey, he's got his team pinned back here with the crowd yelling and screaming and Pittsburgh's defense in a frenzy, and right now he's about 20 yards from getting them into field goal range or winning field goal range. Now the question is, once he gets in there, do you try to wind the clock down, make Pittsburgh use all their timeouts before you attempt the field goal, or do you try and drive it all the way for the touchdown? I think Jack Pardee will play for the field goal here.
Al Del Greco is 2 for 2 today, hit from 29 and from 19. Houston with the 2 timeouts left. Pittsburgh has 3. The battle for first in the AFC Central. Earlier this season, opening day in Houston, Pittsburgh came from behind. Houston was up 14-0. Pittsburgh won 29-24. Steelers with 5 interceptions of Warren Moon. If the Steelers can win today, not only will they have a 1-game advantage, but the series sweep would give them the edge in the first tiebreaker for the division title. That is why it is of such importance for the Houston Oilers.
The change will return to the previous spot because the penalty happened during a pass play. Therefore, the 5-yard penalty would be administered from the previous spot. Houston has chosen to decline the penalty, except the result of the play makes it 2nd down and a foot.
All right. Bill, you want to run that down again?
I'll tell you, that one even lost me, but Bill Cowher now is objecting to the down call. He thinks it's 3rd down.
They are indicating 2nd and 10 at the 38. Up here in the booth, there is agreement with Bill Cowher from Mr. Stats himself, Elliot Cow, that it should be 3rd down.
Well, I think, if that play counts, it should be 3rd down. It should be 3rd and 1.
Never doubt Mr. Stats. It is indeed 3rd down. And 1. Well, there are a couple of Colorado players out there, Bill, it should be mentioned, former Colorado players who have had some experience with the mismanagement of downs.
Well, you're talking about that Missouri game a few years ago where they gave them the extra one. Did you broadcast that game?
No, I did not, Bill. I was busy that day. But Joel Steed and Gary Howe played at Colorado. And they are on the Pittsburgh side of the ball right now. And it will be a 3rd down and 1 at the 44. That held up as a 2nd and 1. We would have had a circus atmosphere following the game when it would be figured out.
Well, I'm waiting for somebody to tell the guys with the down boxes what down it is, because they've got 1st down on both sides of the field. So I'm waiting for somebody to tell those guys, because you usually look at that thing if you're trying to find out what down it is, if you're a player or a coach.
The officials are trying to sort it out. The scoreboard is indicating a 1st down. 1:57 remaining in the 4th quarter.
It's an automatic 1st down.
And now they have changed to an automatic 1st down.
Well, the change to the automatic 1st down is that because that goes with the defensive holding penalty, which is what was called. And I was under the impression that Houston declined that penalty. And that's why it should have been 3rd down. Now they apparently accepted it in lieu of accepting the extra yard. So instead of having the ball on the 40, they got it on the 47.
It is a 1st and 10 at the 47. The Steelers lead the Oilers by the score of 21-20. Completed to Webster Slaughter, and he has a 1st down plus additional yardage. Hardy Nickerson made the stop, and that is a 15-yard advance.
Well, that play was set up, the crossing route, with the anticipation of the Pittsburgh blitz, and Pittsburgh did blitz, and Slaughter got across, and now it's just a question of where Jack Pardee feels like he has to get to effectively have the best chance to win the game with a field goal.
1st down at the 33. Marv Albert, Bill Parcells from Pittsburgh. Carlson completes. Curtis Duncan on the reception and brought down short of the 1st down by Sammy Walker. And there is Al Del Greco. Earlier hit from 19 and from 29. Last week missed from 47, hit the crossbar. Earlier this season hit from 54 yards away. We are down to 45 seconds remaining in this 4th quarter. And a It's a 2nd and 4 at the 27. Houston down by 1, but on the move. Lorenzo White with a burst for the first down. Stopped by Gerald Williams.
Houston's trying to locate the ball now right in front. And, you know, they're going to have to either run another play or call a timeout. And they did call the timeout right here.
Houston down to 1 timeout remaining. We'll be right back. Back at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, 19 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Pittsburgh with that 1-point lead. Houston down to 1 timeout remaining. Right here, it would be a 38-yard field goal attempt for Del Greco. Houston with a first down at the Pittsburgh 21.
And this game really has followed some of the tradition of the older great games that we've seen between these two teams before. This has been a terrific football game.
And Lorenzo White is stacked up. Gerald Williams made the stop on White.
Houston just letting the clock go down to 6, and we're going to see the field goal right in the middle of the field from right here.
And this would be a 41-yard attempt. Now check that. A 35-yard attempt.
It'll be interesting to see if Bill Cowher elects to use a timeout after the Houston timeout to see if they can put a little additional pressure, or as in basketball, as you know, Marv, icing the kicker. If they ice the shooter in basketball, well, here they ice the kicker by calling the timeout.
6 seconds remaining. Pittsburgh and Houston, each with records at 5 and 2. A victory for Pittsburgh would mean a sweep of the season series. That could come into play later on in terms of a tiebreaker. Now officially they're calling it a 39-yard field goal. And there's the timeout taken by Pittsburgh.
Definitely trying to ice the kicker now. You know, Bill Cowher would probably use another timeout if he could, but you're not allowed to call successive timeouts. So I'd really like to have the ball just a little bit closer than this for the winning field goal. Now, it's a makeable field goal, but with the wind blowing, you know, and all the noise and that type of thing, you know, this is no dead cinch for any field goal kicker. You know, the wind doesn't look like it's too much down there on those pylons, but in these circular stadiums, the wind is usually going just the opposite of the way the flags are blowing.
Del Greco on the season, 12 of 15, 2 for 2 today. The game on the line. Steelers by 1. 6 seconds to go. A 39-yard attempt. Del Greco. What would have been the winning field goal. 1 second remaining. Bill Cowher trying to gather his club together.
Well, I remember a kick very similar to this, Marv, a few years back, except it went wide the other way, and I know what that feeling's like on both sides. You know, I've had it go against me, and I've had it go for me, and you know, it comes down sometimes to winning the division to that 3 or 4 feet that we just saw right there.
And Houston Oilers fans can recall Ian Halfield missing a key field goal last season against the Washington Redskins that would have beaten the Redskins. And And you go back to the playoff meeting between these two clubs, and a field goal by Gary Anderson settled the game in favor of Pittsburgh. So this one goes to the Steelers. They make it a season sweep of the Oilers. And they go to 6-2 on top of the AFC Central. Bill Cowher, Jack Pardee shaking hands. Terrific start by this Pittsburgh Steeler franchise. They have now won their last 3 after dropping 2 in a row. They opened the season at 3-0. So the Steelers over the Oilers, 21-20. We'll be back in Pittsburgh in a moment.